Today, we're reacting to the surprising review scores for Doom: The Dark Ages. A new rumor says we could have a GTA release this year after all, but it's not the one you're thinking of. And could Nintendo legally nuke your Switch 2 from orbit if they wanted? Stick around for all that and more. Welcome, friends, to this week's episode of Good Playing With You, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my steadfast squad of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Moulding.
Hey now.
Before we jump into the headlines this week, just a quick note that we're really close, like 300 subs away from getting monetized on YouTube. So if you could hit that like and subscribe button for us, it would mean a lot.
Yeah.
Now, that out of the way, let's jump straight into the headlines of the week. First up, Doom: The Dark Ages releases and has some interesting scores. Moulding, you have the story.
Yeah, first off, Lord, it's great to have you back. I hope
you.
your stomach bug is all cleared up.
Yeah, I missed you guys a lot. Man, when I was in the bathroom just hurling, I was like, I miss these dudes.
Yeah,
I miss you guys when I'm in the bathroom all the time. What a cool thing.
That's kind of how it is.
So Doom: The Dark Ages released this week, and boys, it looks like we have another solid game on our hands. As of its release yesterday, May 15th, it's clocking an 86 on OpenCritic and an 85 on Metacritic. And here are what a few of the major outlets are saying about the game. Destructoid gave it a 90, calling it a hallmark of excellence. There may be flaws, but they are negligible and won't cause massive damage. Doom: The Dark Ages is a brutally dark and gory game that sets up the rest of the franchise's story in a captivating and meaningful way. It improves on nearly every aspect of previous entries in the series, setting itself up as a strong 2025 Game of the Year contender, and I think Expedition 33 will have something to say about that.
And Split Fiction.
And Split Fiction, and there was another one, the Blueprints probably is in there too.
It's a strong year so far.
Yeah, it's been great. IGN also gave it a 90, saying, far from just being more Doom, Doom: The Dark Ages is a new flavor of the legendary shooter series that's heavier and more grounded, but no less energetic and exhilarating. The new shield is an outstanding addition that adds a ton of both offensive and defensive options, and when combined with the extensive arsenal of traditional Doom guns, provides a ton of fun and exciting ways to dispatch the hundreds upon thousands of demons that stand in your way. Wow, that's a lot. And finally, GameSpot gave it an 80, writing, although it can falter at times when straying too far from the fundamentals, Doom: The Dark Ages shows that there's still so much fertile ground that this series can explore, and that sometimes smart, measured changes can take the series in surprising new directions and yield some of its final moments. So, boys, are you planning on picking this one up and giving it a try? Was the game on your radar at all? And if not, is it now hearing the positive reviews?
Not really on the radar, I will say. I mean, we saw the peaks, couple months ago, and I still have the same feeling I had back then with this game. It looks slow, and like, what's up with the medieval setting? I still don't quite understand that whole thing. So naturally, my mind goes to paid reviews. And I just don't know what, like, this game doesn't look like it has what it takes, and the reviews are surprising in that way. I'm like, I can't believe it's getting reviewed so hard, because I was certain this was the one that was the misstep by them, and so I was a little shocked. And then I have to add to all this, because Linux users who are buying the game right now on their PC, you can switch from Proton versions, which is just like the way to get the game playing. The de novo anti-piracy situation that's going on there is locking people out of the game that they've paid for. So that has been like, locking people out for 24 hours. I couldn't believe reading that. And it just seems odd to me. Like, a lot of it about this game, it could be great. It looks a little slow, but hey, the reviews are definitely higher than I was anticipating. What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. I will say, look, it's on Game Pass. It's absolutely
Oh.
gorgeous. There's no cost for us to jump in. I think I have my weekend plans cut out for me. I was on the fence about 5 minutes ago, but hearing Malding spiel all of these accolades, definitely got my interest peaked. It wasn't on my radar at all, but you know what? I think I could give it a whirl this weekend, and I'm kind of excited about it because I need a new game.
Malding, what were the
nice.
lowest scores?
It was in the 70s was what
Wow.
Metacritic had
That's crazy.
had logged.
That
And
is
you know,
crazy.
I don't know if you've ever taken a look at the Metacritic thing. Like they have, I mean, we probably could maybe at some point be on there. There's a
Yeah.
lot of sites that you really don't know and I haven't heard of on there. Like it really does take a lot of critic reviews. So I always pull the most known ones. But yeah, they were in the mid high 70s. Like it wasn't too far below 80.
Well, Malding, why don't you answer your own question, though?
Yeah.
Are you going to give it a whirl this weekend? What are your thoughts?
I don't have any interest in it, unfortunately. I mean, I'm literally playing Skyrim right now because I want to get some achievements I've never got. So my mind's not really on it. I do love that if I want to pick it up, I can just download it right now and play it for free. Like that is just really great, and I love Microsoft and Xbox for that.
Here's what has me a little bit hyped. I'm not going to lie. Microsoft this year knows no control. Where the hell is their scheduling? Believe me, I'm not complaining, but we are getting game after game after game on Game Pass. There are some serious bangers there. I cannot keep up. And I'm a huge nerd. I play games all the time, and even I can't keep up. And what this is getting me excited about is we all know that on June 6th is their presentation that Sunday, and we'll be doing a special show recapping everything announced at the Microsoft Xbox Summer Showcase that's coming up next month. But wow, they must have so much planned for the fall because this spring they have just been like shotgunning us like a Doom shotgun in the face with games.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have nothing else to say about that other than there's still more games that I want. They're going to do the Tony Hawk game remaster, re-release, whatever you want to call it. They're going to do that. And I think there's a couple others that I just don't have right off the top of my head. So they still have stuff that I want to play coming up.
No doubt. Game Pass right now getting the AAA of AAAs right now. So that is just what a win. It's crazy. I feel like it's very much going under the radar how great Game Pass is as far as value right now.
Honestly, yeah, I think it's in its best place it's ever been in terms of like,
for sure.
I can't keep up, and that's never happened to me before, so it's awesome. It is really awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, speaking of games we won't be able to play, unfortunately, this fall is GTA 6, as we all know that it's been shit canned for next year, and we're looking forward to it. But does that mean there is no GTA? Let's talk about that. But first, Malding, you had a word for us.
Yeah, so today's episode is actually sponsored by our friends over at Instant Riot. Instant Riot is a new clothing brand focused on gamers, pop culture enthusiasts, and everyone in between. They are also the exclusive place to grab official Good Playing With You merchandise. So head on over to instantriot.com after you finish watching the show, of course, and enter code FIRSTRIOT for 10% off your first order. Instant Riot, if you know, you know. So thanks to our friends over there.
Thank you. Go pick them up.
They are awesome. All right, so let's talk GTA, though, because that's also awesome. This is an article coming from Mark Warren at VG247. It's called GTA 6, What GTA 6? Veteran Rockstar leaker suggests Grand Theft Auto 4 port for current-gen consoles is in development and could drop later this year. And he writes, these claims come from Tez2, a longtime leaker data miner of all things Rockstar, who responded to someone asking about a, quote, potential GTA 4 remaster for modern gen consoles on the GTA forums. He said, quote, someone at Rockstar hinted at the GTA 4 port, and by now it should have gone up a year in development. We may end up seeing it drop later this year, and it's one more reason, in addition to the existing reasons, that the Los Santos, or actually the Liberty City Preservation Project mod on PC was actually taken down by Rockstar earlier this year. If they still follow their plan laid out from the pandemic days, they'll do an MP3 port, which is Max Payne 3 after GTA 4. So a little Max Payne news there. So it's an opportunity to do a bundle or definitive edition, Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes, and then a Max Payne 3 port. According to Tez, the long-anticipated GTA 4 port appears to be in development for current-gen consoles for all of his sources. So, gentlemen, that's a pretty iffy rumor, but it's also kind of exciting because I do love that game. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll be playing GTA 4, remastered at the end of the year?
Yes, I love that idea. I think that's super fun. I'm loving these remasters. Like, I know we poke a lot of fun at PlayStation because that's all pretty much they've done this generation, but I'm not really a PlayStation player, so that doesn't really affect me too much. So when I get these remasters, especially of games that are as great as GTA 4, I'm super excited to play them again and super excited to like see what changes they make. So I'm all about it. Bring it on.
I'm with Malding. You seriously can't go wrong with GTA 4. I just replayed it probably last year, and man, that game holds up so well still. The original is awesome. Did a little mods on the PC. So yes, this game is like, this is awesome. This is big news. Very excited to get back in the streets with Nico, and it should be just a good time. I'm hoping it gets like an extreme gloss of, the upgraded graphics just looking extremely clean. I hope they just go all out. That'd be great.
I mean,
I
are they
agree.
going to do that, or are they going to do what they did with the GT? Yeah, is that what you're going to talk about, Dan?
Yes, you took the words out of my mouth. That is exactly right. This would fill the GTA size hole in my heart this Christmas because Part 6 ripped out. So I am more than happy to hop in. But then, Malding, as you were saying, they most recently remastered a bunch of them. Now they didn't do it themselves. They went to an outside company, and those remasters were awful. And they were San Andreas and Vice City, and was there one other one? It was, or
Was there?
maybe it's 3. I think there was
remember.
one other one. Maybe it was 3. But anyway, those
Yeah,
are
3.
notorious for their bugs. There were clips online of cars falling through the earth. There were glitches galore, characters stretching, all sorts of, you name it. I mean, this company did a really bad job, so much so Rockstar took these remasters back, brought them in-house, really finished the job, repolished it, and then there was a controversy because when they updated the game and released the Rockstar versions of these, they took off the other company that had done it. They took their name off of the ports. So that was how mad they were. So,
ouch.
Yes. So I like, as long as these ports are, or the remasters are well done, I'm happy. I think Rockstar might have learned from their mistake, putting it out of house and not doing hands-on, which makes me wonder if this is going to take a little bit longer. Although if they know that they have that schedule to fill, maybe they can escalate it a little bit. Man, I sure would love anything GTA related this Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way this gets any closer to the release of GTA 6. So
Yep.
it has to be winter. Like, I don't see this dropping. I mean, even like a few months before GTA 6, or definitely not after. This has to be like, I feel like this has been in the works, and they might have known the GTA 6 delay was coming, and they're just like,
Yeah.
we need something. Like, we have to appease our fan base. And GTA 4 is, like, dare I say, like, the one of the most beloved in the franchise. It's like, it's up there. People
For sure.
praise this game pretty hard. So I think they're gonna have to do it justice.
I have a
So-
conspiracy for you, though, real quick,
Oh.
Lord.
Bring it on.
Okay,
Bring it
so
on.
I think Rockstar always knew that the game was 2026, and I think that they've teased the release date in 2025 for their stock investors to do a stock pump to get their stock up, and they knew they inflated as much as they could during 2024, getting into 2025, their stock's going up and up. They know that delaying this game is going to hit their stock, and it did. That Thursday, Friday that they released the delay happened, their stock tanked, but then they turned around and they released trailer number 2 just a few days later, and their stock went right back up. And so I think they knew this. I think the whole time this game has been planned for 2026, and they were just snowballing investors.
Ooh, that's some spice. I
Yeah.
love that. Man, getting in Wall Street and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my
So
guess.
a little insider trading, Dan, is confusing. I
That
think.
is exactly what I think. I think it's totally insider trading. They were manipulating the stock here.
I mean, I'm
Well,
with you.
I know
think-
I'm one of the ones that got a piece of that stock though when it went down. So.
Oh,
Me
really?
too. Thanks. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Thanks to you. That was a great call out.
Dang, what the hell? I should have done
we
that
jumped in.
too. Man, I mean, I think you're right on about it being always 2026. I had not considered the stock. I love that little tidbit, but
It was just
you're
too
right.
smooth the way they did that delay and trailer. I mean, they had that planned.
Oh,
that was planned.
For sure. They definitely the trailer
Conspiracy.
drop. That's a good call. Good call. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping it doesn't go any further than what it is, because at this point they have to drop it then. Like it would be blasphemous if they push it further.
Lord, I do want to ask you what mods you were using when you played. Do you know offhand?
No,
Yeah.
I was
Any
just
nudie
using
mods?
Like the Nico naked mod.
Yeah,
I
that's
wish.
nudie
I
mods.
wish.
Nudie mods. That's the only
I've
reason to
not-
play on PC.
I know. Well, no, there's honestly there was like 120 FPS mod that was so cool.
wow.
Like some of the graphics mods that just made it look really, really sharp. Those are the ones you got to go
The
for.
boobs, the
I should have put the
jiggle
boobs
physics,
in
the
though.
boobs. Yeah,
I don't know what I was doing. You're right. I missed it. Naked Nico would have been a hilarious one to get.
Well, speaking of mods, Nintendo is not a fan of people changing their original games or doing anything with their consoles. And in fact, they could brick your system, nuke it from outer space. Lord, you have this story.
Yep. So Nintendo might brick your Switch if you break the rules. This comes from The Verge's Ash Parrish. Console modding enthusiasts, beware. Nintendo might take away your system. According to a recently updated account services user agreement and privacy policy, Nintendo reserves the right to render the Nintendo account services and or the applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable in whole or in part. The change, first reported by GameFile, came with a May 7th update and centers on Nintendo's policy regarding how players use their consoles and Nintendo accounts. So here's the new agreement. Without limitation, you agree that you may not publish, copy, modify, reverse engineer, lease, rent, decompile, disassemble, distribute, offer for sale, or create derivative works of any portion of the Nintendo account services, bypass, modify, decrypt, defeat, tamper with, or otherwise circumvent any of the functions or protections of the Nintendo account services, including the use of any hardware or software that could cause the Nintendo account services to operate other than in accordance with its documentation and intended use. So that kind of just goes on and on, but those were the main points. Man, is this one step too far by Nintendo? Does this change your outlook on actual ownership of the system?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a strange one. I mean,
Yeah.
people don't like when companies reach into their devices and do things. You remember everyone freaked out when the U2 album got put on our iPods and phones and they were trying to do us
Well
a
said.
solid. Instead, people were like,
PlayStation
"What?"
removing Concord right from your system just
Yeah,
this last
exactly.
year.
But this is taking it a step further than we've ever seen before with actually bricking people's systems. Now, one, did Nintendo really have to do this? Did they? Because we all know if they try and do this to someone, it's like in the sci-fi movies when you've got the explosive necklace, the heroes always take the explosive necklace off. And I'm telling you that hackers, that is what they are going to hack day one. This is a non-issue, and it's just bad look for Nintendo again.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I don't know. I'm not a modder. I'm not a tech guy. I've never cracked open any of my systems. But are they saying that even if you open up your Switch, it's no they have some indication that happened, just opening it up, they can brick it?
Yeah, tamper. Like I think tamper means you open that thing, you're bricking the system.
I don't know. I
or
feel
they
like
can rip it.
if I own a solid piece of merchandise, it is mine to do with as I please. That's just kind of the way I feel. So that's crazy to me. I might, and that might be naive on my part, like just because I don't know some of the things that people are able to do by once they open their systems up. But yeah, man, that seems really harsh to me.
Right. And I think this can go beyond, I think a lot of people immediately think piracy and all those kind of um, like mischievous acts when you're messing with a system, but it could be as simple as like trying to repair the screen. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I don't know what. See, that's the thing. Like, what is
Well,
flipping this something is monitoring your system where it will trigger something and it tells Nintendo, hey, this person's messing with something, like deactivate it, which to me is like so 1984. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, come
yeah.
on.
Well, this is kind of dovetailing with what's going now in Congress. There's all 50 states have now introduced the right to repair
Yeah.
legislation. So that means we own our devices, we can repair. Now, I don't know where that legislation is, but my guess is, look, Nintendo's not going to nuke your Switch if you are doing your screen. What they are going to do is they're going to kind of monitor what you're running. And when they see that homebrew on there, when they see you modding the motherboard, when they see you running copied games that you didn't pay for, that's when they're going to hit you. If your key on your little thing matches somebody else's key and your system doesn't stop it, that's when they're like, nope. And then they fry your system. But my guess is this is all posturing and it's going to be patched out by modders. This is the last we'll hear of it.
I just think we've already been hit by their little keys, which is such an anti-piracy effort. And it's like, okay, you already hit us with those. Now you're going one step further and saying you're monitoring the system and they're basically threatening you, saying if you mess, we're shutting you down, which is like, I don't know. I just feel like we've reached a point where it truly, to me, doesn't feel like you own the system. You're truly like renting it off Nintendo. And they do mention something about reselling it on there as well. So it's like even reselling it seems a little sketch. Who knows? It just is such a bad look by Nintendo. And I feel like they've reached such a low point with this system. They haven't had any wins with this one quite yet. So
No, they
still
haven't.
waiting.
No. It'll be interesting to see what happens at launch, but they're
Totally.
not the only console manufacturer who's not looking good this week. Sony is now potentially teasing a price hike. We all knew it was coming, and it hasn't come exactly yet. But let me tell you guys about this story, and then I want to get your reactions. Sony says PS5 price hikes are possible as it faces an $680 million hit from tariffs. This is an article from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. He writes, all eyes have been on Sony to see if it follows Microsoft's footsteps and, in response to increased US tariffs, dramatically raise the price of the PlayStation 5. The company confirmed it to investors on Wednesday that it might end up doing exactly that as it faces a potential $680 million hole in its bottom line from the new import taxes on China and other countries. In a Q&A following its latest earnings report, Sony CFO Lin Tao suggested passing on the price of tariffs to players is one of the possibilities the company is taking into account as it tries to forecast the impact of President Trump's ongoing trade war. Sony confirmed that there's still about 3 months of supply worth of PS5's inventory already on store shelves in the US, and that buys it some time. So, gentlemen, will we be hearing about a PS5 price increase in maybe 3 months? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm surprised that they're not increasing it next week, and they gave us that 3-month surplus number. I'm just so surprised. Like I would have thought, and out of anyone, Sony would have, you know, jumped at any chance they could get to increase this system's price. So I mean, I guess good for them. I mean, we got to hold them to it. Like what they're saying, 3 months now. I'm not gonna forget that because I can imagine this being like next week. They are like, oh yeah, and here we go. Another like, did it say how much they're going to increase it by potentially? Or
Nope, not at all. Not a peep.
okay, all right,
Because they've already increased it around the world, but they haven't touched
yeah,
the prices yet in the United States, and people are estimating that it could be pretty substantial. Like they're saying, like maybe the Pro could go from closer to $1,000. So there are wild numbers that are being thrown out there, and to be honest with you, there's no way you can really estimate it because Trump's tariffs are changing day by day. So we don't know where this is going to end. We don't know where we're going to be in 3 months, and neither do they. But they have kind of signaled that their hand that this is probably a solution for their bottom line.
Well, the tariffs for China have been reduced for 3 months. They're now on pause for 3 months. Coincidentally, the same amount of time that Sony said, that they have amount of inventory. I think it's all a grift, and they're going to raise prices whether the tariffs are there or not, because the tariffs are such a great protection for them. They can say, no, it's not us. Like, we had to do it because the tariffs.
Yeah.
It's a great excuse that all corporations are going to be using to raise their prices. So yes, I think it's good. I think the prices are going to raise no matter what happens.
And I also love how they were like, oh, and we might have to pass it on to the consumer. It's like, well, of course that was going to happen. Like, you think anything else? Like, what? You're just going to like sit there and eat that cost? Or like, no, yeah. Sony, we're not dummies. Like, we know
you're going to take it out of your corporate bonuses. No way are they going to do that.
I just love that. Like, I love that wordage. It's like, yeah, you're going to hit us with the price increase. Like, oh, we didn't see that coming. Yeah. So, crazy stuff.
For sure. I think companies are looking for any sort of excuse to raise prices that they can. Back in the day, it was prices went down because parts and manufacturing became cheaper and there were redesigns. They've already actually redesigned this PS5 once, and they didn't drop the price really then. So it is interesting to see. I think, unfortunately, they don't have a lot of competition. So with Microsoft pretty much taking themselves out of the game, other than Game Pass, like, you kind of have to go PS5 if you're going to get a real console. No offense to Nintendo. I love you, but I'm not playing third-party games on you. And I'm not paying $80 for your shit.
Yeah, well said.
Well, you are technically, aren't you? Oh no, you're getting the package. Bundled. You're getting the bundle. Yeah. You're getting the bundle. That's
well, right. You know what? You're going to get kicked off the live stream when we have it. We're going to do the Mario Kart live stream, and Malding unfortunately won't be there.
I think we're all going to talk a big game about, oh no, we're not going to buy. Eventually, I'm going to buy GTA, whatever price it's going to be. So that's the one caveat, but I don't know.
Hold if tight to the pact. We have.
I know I want to, but a brand new Zelda comes out and it's $80. I don't know that I can hold out on something like that. Like I'm going to try.
And it's just funny also that it's like Sony doesn't think that doesn't want us to believe that they're going to raise the prices to $80 as well. Like, that's going to be obviously what they do next. Like, when is that article coming out? That's like, that's going to be ASAP.
Next week.
We're going to, next week.
We're going to talk about next week. Yeah.
I agree. Well, we'll see if one of Kojima's games are one of the $80 games that get affected by a price hike, because he's always working on them and he's full of crazy ideas. Some of them are legitimately awesome, and some of them are interesting and head scratchers. Lord, I believe you had this story.
Nope, this one was me.
Malding, I believe you had this story.
No worries. This is from Verity. I hope I don't butcher this. Verity or Verity Townsend at IGN, and it's Hideo Kojima has an amazing idea for a forgetting game. Hideo Kojima's Japanese radio podcast Koji 10 has been giving listeners insight into how the Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding creator thinks. In the most recent broadcast, Kojima shared his thoughts on how time passing in real life can be used in video games. He mentioned an example in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater with using the system clock for the cat and mouse boss battle against elderly sniper The End. Quote, although he is a really tough boss, if the player waits a week, The End will die of old age, recalls Kojima. Indeed, if the player loads their in-battle save at least 1 week later, they will be treated to a cutscene in which Snake discovers that The End is dead. Kojima discusses 3 other game concepts that have the passing of time in real life as a major mechanic. The first is a kind of game of life. Kojima explains it starts out with a player being born. You're a child, and then gradually over time, you become an adult. If you keep playing the game, you will become a 70 or 80-year-old man. Although your character will be in better physical condition when they are younger, they will have more knowledge and experience when they are older, but no one would buy it, Kojima said. Another idea he mentioned is a game where you are creating something that takes time to mature, such as wine or cheese. This requires the player to continue gradually playing it over a long period of time. And finally, Kojima also proposed a forgetting game that the player would have to play through quickly. In this concept, the main character gradually forgets important information and abilities if you take too long a break from the game. For example, if you don't play every day, the main character will gradually forget things such as how to fire their gun or what their job is. This forgetfulness builds up until finally the player is unable to move. Quote, players would have to take a week off work or school to play it, Kojima laughs. So, boys, what do you think of those concepts? We all know that Kojima is known as a kind of mad genius, but do any of these concepts actually sound fun to you?
I kind of like all of them. They're cool.
I knew you would. I knew you would.
You're a Kojima stan.
I am a Kojima stan. Like, I mean, after hearing all of them, I'm glad he stuck with Death Stranding. Let's be honest. But he definitely, I feel like, is on to something with that. I mean, the forgetful one, that's kind of cool. But I think the one where like you grow up, like that concept really hasn't been explored that I can recall. I think that's cool. Like something that you could almost like an Animal Crossing that you could play for a long time, and you just
or
like
Tamagotchis, right? It's like
Tamagotchi
Tamagotchi in there, yeah.
Like that could be a really cool concept and something that I could see like a Sony heading up, and it could be their sort of take on like an Animal Crossing. So I mean, I'd be buying it.
I think Animal Crossing, that is the part everyone hates. They start the game and they're like, wait, I have to actually wait 24 hours for Tom Nook to move into my town. I have to wait 24 hours for this building to be, and this bridge really has to go for 24 hours. Like people, that is the part that everyone complains to me about. The real time, real world waiting. Look, I'm a weekend warrior. I don't have time to do it over a whole week. I have the weekend and then I got to get back to work when I have it. But I don't I don't have time to sit there and play this game. I appreciate his ideas. I love Kojima because he thinks out of the box. But sometimes you have to take these ideas and you just kind of gotta see how this would really work in the real world. I love the thought process and all that sort of stuff. But I do think the forgetful game could be a little problematic because it's going to remind people and trigger people whose parents might have had Alzheimer's. And so when you deal with that, that is not cool. And so I would definitely stay away from that game. But I think he's got tons of ideas. In fact, I saw one article that was saying he's got so many ideas that when he finishes playing games or creating games, he's going to leave them for his company on a USB stick. And I thought, wow, that's so awesome that he's so
I think technically
creative.
He said when he dies.
Oh, yeah.
I think it wasn't even just like when he stops playing games, but it's something that they, I think, can open up when he's gone.
That's a legend.
That would be interesting. That would be truly fascinating because he is definitely one of the most creative minds. I just think, not all of his ideas are gold. That's all.
Yeah. You know how like Tarantino had that one editor that he worked with forever, and then that person like passed away or moved on, and now Tarantino has a new editor, and now he's kind of lost a little bit. Like that's kind of what it reminds. Somebody needs to like reel in Kojima a little bit. Maybe he lost his muse over there. Who knows? But I think
like Elton John and his guy, like they come in pairs, like right?
Exactly. And it's like, you let Kojima go off the rails, he's gonna cook up some of these wild ideas. I mean, even Death Stranding is actually probably like more far-fetched than any of this stuff. So it's like he's working on the serious heavy duty stuff and kind of like letting these other kind of fluffier ideas just blowing the wind, basically.
Yeah, but we need them.
Anything
though.
that's
Yes.
anything we do need them. Anything though that's time gated, I have no interest in that. That is what ended me with what New Horizons, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Or with Animal Crossing. Even though we had nothing but time during the pandemic, I was not interested. I was like, wait, what? I have to wait until tomorrow to even continue playing. Like, no, that's not. I have no interest in that. And I've got nothing but time to play these games. So, I mean, Kojima kind of lost me on the walking sim that is Death Stranding. So I don't know. None of this stuff really sounds fun to me at all.
No.
But I love that he's there, just like what we talked about. I love that there are people, because I mean, what other auteur like him is there? I can't think of anyone. Maybe what's his name, Todd guy from Bethesda, like
Todd
he
Howard.
maybe, but not. I mean, obviously not to that level. But I'm trying to think of any other, like the dude from Split Fiction,
Jeff
like
Keighley, dude.
Jeff Keighley.
He doesn't make games.
I'm just
Crack smoker.
I'm just kidding. Jeff Keighley wishes.
Yeah.
Well, one guy that could be considered an auteur who definitely has a blank check to do whatever he wants is Neil Druckmann, who's riding high off of the huge success of all of the Last for Us games. And he's busy hard at work on Intergalactic. And Lord, I know you had a story about that.
I do. Intergalactic actor reveals Neil Druckmann's coaching on overcoming online harassment. So this comes from VGC's Jordan Midler. Tati Gabrielle, who plays Jordan, the protagonist in Naughty Dog's next game, has said that Naughty Dog's Druckmann has been coaching her on how to deal with online backlash based on experience of the Last of Us cast. This is in quotes. Neil's been boot camping me, she told EW. I know Troy's experience. I know Ashley's experience. I know Laura Bailey's experience. I got a lot of love, but there's a lot of hate over me being a woman of color, me having my head shaved, all these things that I didn't even actually initially see. I'm out of the social media zeitgeist for that reason. But once I did, Neil was like, ignore it. No matter what, me and you, we're going to make something beautiful. We're going to make something that we're proud of. So this is just like an interesting concept to me, because it's just like a lot of backlash. Like, I'm trying to understand at this point, is this just like an owning the chud sort of moment? Are we sort of like dipping in a, like, almost, I mean, I don't know, like a miscast sort of thing in a game? Or how are we feeling? Because in this case, it just seems like it's not setting up the actress for success. It's like they already know there's going to be like hate. Like, you're already coming into it just like getting hated on.
I think every time you don't have a white male protagonist, people like freak out on the internet. Like, those people weirdos come out of their hole and complain and stuff like that. And I think that he's trying to prepare her for the narrow-mindedness that is out there. I think I understand that. Not from like a racial perspective. We get told to fuck off all the time, but I think she's dealing with, or will be dealing with, something that's even more annoying and awful, because it's not like we get told to fuck off because of our opinions and what we say.
Yeah.
But she's getting told to fuck off because of her race, her haircut, and all that sort of stuff. And that is something that we haven't had to deal with, and I can't imagine. And that is on a personal level that I truly feel bad for her. So I can understand his wanting to prepare her for that. That said, I hope they don't get too defensive right away, because the one thing that I think can solve all of this is, man, you put out a banger gameplay trailer. You show that audience this awesome game. They are, hopefully, majority of them, the good ones, are going to forget all about like the lead character being this race with that haircut or whatever. You know, you show them a great game, and I guarantee you the chuds will shut up. Hopefully. I mean, that's my hope.
Absolutely.
I feel mad respect actually for Druckmann doing this. I think it's great. He's trying
Agreed.
he created a game, and he wants to protect his actress. I think that's awesome, and I have mad respect for it. I mean, Ironheart, the trailer for Ironheart, which came out yesterday on Wednesday, has now, just because it has a black protagonist, over half of the YouTube is dislikes, just because it's a great trailer. It looks super exciting, but pretty much just because she's a black woman, she's getting, like, the internet chuds are just all over it. And I think Druckmann sees that obviously happened with Last of Us Part 2 and everyone there, and he's just getting ahead of the game, and I have mad respect for it.
Yeah. No, for
I
sure.
agree.
I'm with Dan. I'm hoping that we get like a solid gameplay look at what they're cooking up. Like, I mean, I could see that happening probably in the next like few months, right? Like,
I don't know. They take their sweet ass time over there at Naughty Dog, and they should. Their games are phenomenal. Last of Us Part 2 is one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I have mad respect for him. I'm sure it's gonna be an amazing game. I'm sure she's gonna be amazing. I'm ready to love it, and I can't wait. But of course, as we all say, like, when it's ready, when it's ready to be shown.
I want to make a special point, though, that it shouldn't matter if the game is good or bad. Like, no one should get any sort of
for sure.
It shouldn't matter, but I'm saying it would help.
It shouldn't matter if it's the shittiest game in the world. Everyone should there should be no comments on her race or looks at all, even though I commented last week on how hot the one guy is from Grand Theft Auto. Like, people are just going to do that, but it shouldn't matter.
I agree. It shouldn't matter. I'm just saying it would help. That's all.
It will matter. It shouldn't matter.
I agree.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying my comment, because I don't want to, come from the wrong angle.
No, they are fine.
No, good stuff.
So.
Yeah, totally crazy. All right, now let's move on to the listener emails of the week. This week, it's time for listener emails of the week. If you want to suggest a topic, feel free to hit us up at goodplayingwithyou@gmail.com, just like Fred Dead Redemption did. He says, from Mario and Master Chief, a lot of the consoles and companies have their favorite famous characters. But what are video game characters that flew under the radar? What do you guys think are some of the best underhyped characters in video games?
Well, I can kick us off on this one because I love this Fred Dead Redemption question here. I gotta go with Trevor from GTA 5. Like, I know he, like, there's a lot of love for GTA 5, and sometimes I feel like, the Franklin and Michaels of the world get a lot of hype, but Trevor, like, he kind of carries that game, to be honest. Like, I think his missions, I thought, were pretty much up there with some of my favorites in that one. I just think he's a total kook. And I just think the sort of the dynamic between him and Michael is really interesting. And so I gotta say, Trevor, he's kind of underhyped, and he's a good character all around. Definitely enjoyed his presence in GTA 5.
Did you ever happen to watch Walking Dead? Because the mocap actor was in Walking Dead, and I was never able to watch that without being like, "That's Trevor, that's Trevor." It was so crazy to me. Anyway,
that is a really good point. I haven't thought of that in ages, and he became like a pretty big like actor for a while, or he already was an actor, and then he was like just in GTA 5.
Yeah. Good choice. My first one is Rico Rodriguez. So Rico Rodriguez is the protagonist of the Just Cause games, and you never hear anything about that guy. I think that those games were actually super fun. They're kind of a little like, I'm not really sure about the activities, if they're the most fun activities, but man, he was jumping out of planes. He was doing everything that the dude from Uncharted was doing and never got any love for it. And I think he's one of the only, I mean, again, I don't know every protagonist, but he's one of the only Hispanic protagonist that I can think of out there. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch that I'm not thinking of, but he's one of the ones where it was just awesome. Super fun games. I loved playing them. And I want to note that because I didn't know his name right offhand, again, because he's not a well-known name, I was looking it up, and AI was telling me, oh yeah, his name's Rico Rodriguez, and that's the name of the little kid in Modern Family, and it gave the photo of that kid next to him. So man, AI, you got to step up your game a little bit when you're giving me those answers, because I'm pretty sure that kid wasn't in Just Cause.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
that is funny.
Good.
And I gotta say, Just Cause, it did feature the best glider and the grapple system where you could keep
and
yourself
the parachute.
going. Yep, exactly. And a parachute thing. It was phenomenal. I wish more games would rip that off, because I had so much fun ziplining around South America on that game. And I agree, that was a good pick.
Great pick.
Games. Yeah.
My first pick is Sergeant Rex Power Colt from the game Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Did you guys try that one?
No.
Yeah, I don't remember his name at all, but yes.
Rex Colt is awesome because he's an 80s action hero. And then he like gets kidnapped by this evil boss lady, and she kills his best friend Spider, which is not awesome. But then he blows things up and he saves scientists, and that's awesome. And then he kills blood dragons, and then that's awesome. And then the science lady's sidekick girl, Darling betrays her, and she hooks up with Rex Colt.
Spoiler alert.
And she has sex with him because premarital sex is awesome. And then he goes and he blows up everything and fights the evil scientist lady and kills her because that's awesome. And then at the very end, he makes out with Darling and watches the flames in the background. And she turns towards the camera and she has purple eyes, and it ends on a cliffhanger because cliffhangers are awesome.
Oh, wow.
And if that wasn't awesome enough, it is voiced by Michael Biehn from the Terminator movies. So it truly is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's totally an 80s montage, like homage situation. It was chef's kiss. He's one of the most fun, craziest, stupidest characters. And the fact that they have not done anything with Blood Dragon since then is just a crime to humanity.
That
sounds like you need a cigarette after that explanation.
He gets me worked up. Because you watch the trailer and he's like, yeah, I'm Rex Power Cold. He's awesome. I was embodying.
And he made out with a dragon at the end?
No, he made out with Darling.
Oh,
girl.
Come on, Matt. Stick with it.
Exactly.
I can't believe
wait, who has the purple eyes? I'm like trying to figure
Darling,
out.
the girl. She's evil.
Oh, Jesus.
She could have been a plant. Maybe we didn't know she was a plant. We don't know what's going to happen because there was never a sequel.
I thought she was an undercover dragon or something,
No, oh my God. You know what?
I know. I'll go on to my next pick.
Yes.
Really good. Really good. My next pick, it's got to be Gordon Freeman from the Half-Life series. I know people love him, but listen, think of this guy. He's a total nerd, and he has no problem handling a rocket launcher and blowing up aliens from another dimension. Like, that is such a cool combo of characteristics that I don't think gets appreciated enough. This dude is just on a rampage. I totally love it, and I'm hoping to gosh we get Half-Life 3 any moment, because I just need more Gordon Freeman in my life. So let's resurrect this kind of long lost character, please.
I love that choice. There is a gay HBO show called Looking, and in one of the episodes, the main character for Halloween dresses up as Gordon Freeman, and no one knows who he is. The whole time he's like, "I'm Gordon Freeman." Like, don't you know? And everyone's like, "No, we have no idea." And
that's so really good. Fun. Gosh, that's awesome. I need to watch that actually.
Yeah. My second one is Corvo Altano, and he is the protagonist of Dishonored, of the Dishonored games. And I want to say probably why he's not like a sung hero is because you might see him one or two times, but you don't really see his face. And so I feel like a lot of these games, the protagonist is well known because you get to see him all the time, but in those games you don't. But man, he is just absolutely rad. Like, he was not blackmailed. He was framed for a murder at the very beginning of the first game. And then he goes on this quest to redeem himself and gets all these superpowers and supernatural stuff. And then he's teleporting all over and like possessing rats. And oh my God, those games are so good. And then the second game, you can play as him or the girl, and I can't remember what the relationship between him and the girl is, but then they have different powers, so you can play it through it multiple times. They have different ways of playing the game, and gosh, if you haven't played those games, they're just some of the best games, and I think he deserves accolades, that character that he hasn't been given.
Killing blood dragons or possessing rats. I don't know, Malding.
I mean, I'd
know.
possess a rat any day. Any day.
You had
like
me at possessing rats.
Like skitter around, like teleports and double jumps. Yeah.
Your ass would start the plague with your fleas.
It totally will.
All right, so for my last pick, I was on the same wavelength with you, Lord. I thought we were going to pick the same character, but it turns out we didn't. I totally do love Trevor, and I agree. But the real unsung hero here, gentlemen, of Grand Theft Auto 5 is none other than our boy Chop. That's right. Does anyone here remember Chop? Because
that's the dog, right?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. He's completely left out after the whole game. You never hear from him again. But that dog was awesome. He would get in the car with you. He would follow you. He would go and kill people for you. He could pick stuff up. He was an awesome companion. Now talk about unsung hero and someone who deserves their own spinoff. We have all these crappy like Cat Stray and Cat Cozy games. F that. I want this dog to be like Rex Power Cult. I want him to go blow stuff up and chew dudes nuts and F bitches. Like I want him to like have a whole. There could have been DLC just featuring Chop, and I think the fact that we didn't get it, we were truly robbed.
Huge missed opportunity.
I completely agree. And when you hear about like dogs and video games and our favorite dogs, I don't think he's on there. I don't think he's on those lists.
Good. Yeah, he was so good. He was underutilized.
Yeah, it's dog meat, dog meat. Dang it, get Chop.
Yeah, true. Yep. I think people didn't like him because he was a pit bull, maybe, and they thought like pit bulls were violent. I mean, he was killing dudes, but no, I totally agree with that.
Dan wants nuts to be shut off.
He does.
Look, GTA 6 better have a Chop cameo. Is all I'm saying. Chop forever.
Great pick.
I love
Great pick.
Never forget. Well, that pretty much wraps up everything we have for this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcast, please tell 300 friends and make sure they like and subscribe on YouTube as well. And on behalf of Matthew Moulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.